as a sail, a voice whispered behind her as the delegates moved on. One of her lieutenants.
Bollocks! He'd probably forgotten where he was. Doddering fools refuse to retire until they have to be carried out.
Lieutenant Tam's baritone carried above the other voices. Mira allowed herself a half-smile. At least some people had her back. Despite everything, it had been a good day. 2 of her good friends had been promoted, and a Rusalka had just completed advanced training. The border guards were never invited to the Kumiho celebrations in City Hall. The steamed dumplings and free-flowing wine would be missed, but the entitled city guard would not be. They flaunted their ceremonial swords like children's toys. The Chinte only got symbolic daggers, another slight to add to the heap. Mira ran her thumb down the worn hilt of hers. This group had been with her for nearly as long as her Chinte dagger, patrolling the waters in the southern districts of the sprawling Tiankawi city-state. The border guard's jurisdiction was supposedly only around resettlement and trade. But over the decades, the city guard had refused to have anything to do with the folk concentrated south. The whole region would have fallen into the hands of gangs had it not been for the Chinte. From the rooftop training ground, sea level was quite a drop. In her younger days, Mira had clambered across buildings, vaulted and scrabbled through various shortcuts. But the long way had its own charm. The city stretched out, monolithic pillars a canopy above the shanty towns below. At low tide, the planks of the walkways oozed with muddy water, threatening to warp faster than they could be fixed. At high tide, they were completely submerged, beholden to the mercies of the waters that surrounded Tiankawi. Not that this presented a problem for the folk. Mira's usual after-work haunt was nothing more than a street stall near the port in Song district. An elderly couple of stallholders seared skewers of spiced tiger prawns and whole fish over coals, bottles of moonshine floating in the water by their feet.
To the new captain, Mira of the Chinte, we are not worthy,
Lieutenant Tam said with a mock bow. Oh, piss off. Mira prodded him with the toe of her boot.
Don't forget about us when you're a lofty council member, he added.
Mira rolled her eyes, not wasting her breath on a retort.
He has a point,
said Mikhail, her other lieutenant, his thick eyebrows wiggling at her from an amiable brown face. He wiped his hands neatly on a square of cloth from his pocket. They want you for leadership, Lucia agreed. She was one of the newest ensigns, her uniform still pressed every morning, and her face free from the worn river lines the others had. She held her sheathed dagger like they'd given her a nugget of gold. Mira remembered that elation. Wished she had a little of it left. They want a tick box in the council, a head-bobbing, arse-kissing recruitment pamphlet. Well, what do you think? Mira said, posing with her hand on her hip, a caricature of an enrollment notice. They laughed, clinking bottles and turning to talk of other things. Mira took a long swig of the local brew. She wished it was that easy to brush it off inside as well. The faces of the delegates today confirmed what she already knew. All they saw was a half-siren. No matter the uniform she wore, the exams she passed, the ideas she brought to the discussion, they always saw her as Fathomfolk first. She'd never lived in an underwater haven. The semi-submerged city was her only home, and yet she'd always be an outsider. She helped herself to another bottle, raising it until the stallholder auntie nodded in acknowledgement. Heard the merrymaking fall silent suddenly. A group of folk made their way down the walkway. Walking 4 abreast, they took up all the space. Mira recognized some of them. The whiskers of the Tiankawi catfish twins, the swagger of the broad-shouldered kelpie leader in front. Drawbacks, a group of dissident folk who had been openly skeptical of her appointment. They walked with confident purpose, stopping too close to the border guard celebration for comfort.